and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th, when every red tag machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. It is indeed Ticket Weeknights, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Austin Oerman with you here. As always, we're kicking things off on a Monday night with the Husker Football Hour, where we're joined on our Allo Fiber VIP line by the Omaha World Herald's lead sports columnist. That is, of course, Mr. Tom Shatel. Let's bring him in now. Tom, hello. Good evening to you. How did the bye week treat you, sir?
Pretty good. We had some stuff going on with my daughter in Lawrence, Kansas, and some tragic things that happened. And I wrote about it. There was a funeral in Omaha, and all our friends came up for it. We hosted them, and so it was good to be there for them, and it turned out to be some a good family time, but tough week. So I didn't think much about football, which was good. And now we're back, and here we go.
Here we go, indeed. Let's start actually off of the football train, right in the basketball train. Good weekend for Husker hoops, men and women, up at the Sanford Pentagon. Women win at 82-70 on Sunday, but on Saturday it was a 105-99 win, reminiscent, Tom, of the Danny Nee and Billy Tubbs era of Nebraska versus Oklahoma. Fascinating game. Nebraska finds a way to move to 4-0 up there.
Yeah, not quite the level of talent that those teams used to have, but I will say, it was in terms of scoring. I mean, I thought that was, Nebraska when they were down. I didn't see the first half. I was at some other event, and I saw that I kept looking at the score, and not they were down this and they were down that, and then it was like 14. I thought, well, they're not making their shots, because that's kind of what Nebraska will be. Every Nebraska game this year will be defined by that. Is the ball going in the hoop or not? And then I got to the UNO basketball game, their home opener, and a bunch of people were watching it up in the club level, and they had the TV on, so I went up there and started watching the Mavericks. I was keeping an eye on the Mavericks too, but I was watching, Nebraska, and all I saw were shot after shot going in, big shot after big shot, and not just one or two. That was I thought, a very good sign. Oklahoma is not great. I don't even know that Oklahoma is going to be a tournament team. I don't think they might not be, but it's still a Power 4 win. And, we don't know what Nebraska is going to be, but that was a pretty good indication that they're going to be able to, that ball goes in the hoop. That could be a handful for a lot of people.
It was not a sterling defensive performance on either side. Both teams shoot above 50% for the game. Oklahoma actually shot the worst from three of the two teams at 38%. But, Tom, you mentioned the shot making. That's going to get a bunch of the headlines. Kind of like the passing offense, for Nebraska football in some ways, where, okay, that's great if you can do it, but you also got to be able to do enough of the other things. Nebraska forced enough tough shots down the stretch against Oklahoma and rebounded just enough. At an athleticism deficit, Nebraska actually played Oklahoma even on the boards. I know it wasn't, again, a great defensive performance, but even in the early going, the first three games of the year, with Nebraska's personnel on that side of the ball defensively for the basketball team, I was worried about him, but they have found a way for the most part to at least hang in there and compete defensively. Getting down by 16 is not an easy way to make a living, but I think if Nebraska, can do enough defensively, even if it's not the identity of the team like it has been in years past, if Nebraska is at least competitive and rebounding enough on the defensive side of the ball, I think it has the potential to be, pretty special year potentially.
Yeah, that's the things that, and I give Fred credit. These teams have been good defensively, but this is a new team in a lot of ways, and it's got new parts. And to be quite honest, it's people. I'm talking with the people at Creighton who have two Iowa transfers. The word on the Iowa guys is they don't play a lot of defense. So, but they have the offense part down pat. It was like Fred McCaffrey was all one of not much of the other. But so I think there isn't a Derek Walker right now, is there? I don't think there is. But I think they're going to have good role players. To me, right now, it's just their identity is going to be balanced scoring, and they don't. A couple of years ago, they made the tournament with Rank Mast, and he's so much fun to watch. Out top, it's like it's just fun to watch the whole thing go through him, and he's looking at guys to see where they're cutting and all this stuff. But a couple of years ago, if Case A wasn't on fire, there weren't a lot of other options. Now I get the feeling that if one guy. It was kind of like that last year. There wasn't Bryce Williams scoring a bunch. You weren't always sure where that other points were going to come from. And I feel like this is, right now they've got through 4 games. They've got 6 of their. They have been playing 8 guys pretty much. 6 of their 8 are averaging 50% from the field, and from the 3-point line, they've got 5 guys averaging over 40%, which is kind of where you want to be over 40 if you can, or right around 40. And they've got 5 guys doing that. So it tells me that there's one guy's not on, the other guys are I'll be there to pick him up. And again, you have Jamarcus Lawrence, having him back, he's a better player. Comes back as a transfer. Sometimes transfers are just better. They've been through stuff. So it's an interesting team. We'll see it develop. This weekend in Kansas City will be another couple of games where they'll have to, shoot it well and try to play some defense. And then we'll all sit back in a couple of weeks and watch them play Creighton, and that'll be a lot of people will be watching them for the first time, and there'll be a lot of impressions will be made that Sunday afternoon.
They sure will be. I think interesting is the perfect way to describe this Nebraska team. Just 4 games into the 31-game regular season schedule, still a long way to go. Tom, let's flip the gear to football a little bit, maybe more nationally generally, but with a Nebraska focus. You recently wrote about Troy Danon, maybe the good timing that he's been able to have. Obviously, before Troy Danon got here, the hiring of Matt Rule seemed like it came at a good time for Nebraska, and Nebraska was, among the first to offer their sitting head coach, whose name was thrown about in some rumors, a contract extension. You think that decision looks even wiser now?
I do. And certainly we've had that argument in the press box a couple of times with other members of the media who thought it was not necessary. He wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't getting hired by anybody. And I said, well, you don't know that. You can't say that because you don't know who's called or who's going to call and what level of anxiety, if Florida and LSU can't get who they want, or maybe there's Penn State, Florida, and LSU, those are 3 pretty good jobs, and Rule has stayed 3 years at Baylor, and then I almost feel like, yeah, you probably needed to lock him down just in case, because he's in the middle of a very good developmental program, and they're adding talent and pieces, and it's coming together. You want to keep the coordinators, you want to keep the continuity going. You don't want any of that interrupted because you didn't take care of business, and but also that there may be the next Chris Signetti may be out there, but he's not leaving Indiana, and Mike Elko is not leaving A&M. Trevor Alberts had a statement that I couldn't understand half the words he was using, but they locked their guy up as the bottom line. And Lane Kiffin is playing a game that only he knows, but he's going to win no matter what. But the question is, what's he going to do? And what I know is he's got Ole Miss in the playoff, and they're going to be. They probably won't get a first round bye, but they probably host a first round game, and then if they win that, they'll play New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. So he's, you assume he's not going anywhere until after January. But can these programs wait for him? I don't see him leaving his team with all that on the line. That would be a terrible look, and probably a bad move overall. But so can Florida and LSU, if they're waiting for him, can they wait until January, or with you guys signing day coming up and the portal in early January? One portal period. So I don't know. Well, I guess my point is, a lot of the names right now are, Colin Klein, the old K-State quarterback, who's the A&M offensive coordinator, the James Madison coach. Is he Signetti? Who knows? He looks like a very good coach. Maybe, and there's a couple of others. Eli Drinkwitz, I follow Missouri. He's been good, but he hasn't been great. I mean, I don't know if you hire him expecting him to take you to the national championship. But what I'm saying, I think it's kind of slim pickings. And unless there's some people, unless Lincoln Riley is going to move again, or somebody like that is going to change jobs. Freeman, he ain't leaving Notre Dame, is he? Unless he goes, So I mean, there might even be more things open up. I mean, Florida State. I mean, who knows? And there might be a couple more. So, I guess what I was writing was basically, it's a good time to have your guy locked down, because I don't think Nebraska fans would feel very good about a coaching search this year.
No, Arkansas fans aren't feeling very good about a coaching search with their AD taking over as the chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. But you mentioned James Franklin already off the board at Virginia Tech.
Right.
I think that's really interesting, Tom, everything you said there, in light of some of Matt Rule's comments a couple different times this year, right? When the Penn State interest was first there, then after his extension got announced, there have been some comments from Matt Rule to the effect of, get used to it, right? This is what happens when you're a winning coach and you're a winning program, is other places are going to come calling, right? It might be new to you guys, but it's not new to me. And I think there's a very fine line that Nebraska and its fans need to walk here, because sure, interest from other big name programs is absolutely a sign of respect, but you also can't get too used to it, because walking on those eggshells and not shutting down rumors can be a little bit dangerous for a program. We know college football is ever shifting. We know it's more built on sand than rock. So you do kind of have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But there's a point where, like to your example about Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, where uncomfortable gets a little too uncomfortable for everyone, and there's a disservice being done.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Lane Kiffin is waiting. I mean, there may be, I've heard one theory from somebody out there that he's doing this on purpose. He knows, everybody at Ole Miss knows he's staying, but he's dragging it out. So Florida and LSU, who are Ole Miss competitors, main competitors, are that they're caught in the middle, and they're kind of at a standstill, and they can't move forward. So I thought that was interesting, and it may be true, but. Excuse me. No, what Coach Rule said, that it was, I understood it. But yeah, Nebraska people are not used to that. Mm-hmm. They don't have, their coaches, first of all, never leave. The last few we got fired, but they don't usually have a coach that everybody else wants. Frank Solich was not sought after. I think Bo probably thought he was, or he tried to be, but he wasn't necessarily sought after. He wasn't getting offers all the time.
How much of that was Bo just trying to get away from his boss too?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, but I'm just saying they're not, Nebraska are not used to having to hear somebody say that or even go through it, because you don't leave Nebraska. Well, you never assume that anymore. But I just think, I love today that it was clear to me that Rule had kind of learned his lesson. The first time we talked about Penn State was the Minnesota game, and he came out and talked about it, and didn't really commit to Nebraska, and then he went on McAfee, and this thing kept growing and growing, and all of a sudden you had to play the game, and they came out flat. Well, excuse me, I don't know how much of a factor that was, but it certainly could have been. Today, when we talked about Penn, we often asked about Penn State and the emotions. He shot it down quickly. He wanted to move on. Just another week. focuses on the players, and I thought it was absolute right thing to do as somebody who loves a good story and loves to write a good story and he loves to hear a good story and a good angle. Yes, I wanted more, but I understood that, look, he can't do that again. Right. He can't make this about him this week, and he didn't. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, Matt Rule shot down a lot about Penn State in his press conference today. Before we take our first break here, Tom, I do want to ask your opinion of what Matt Rule said in reaction to another night game for Nebraska. It's been a handful of them now on the season. I thought he handled it pretty well, all things considered, when it came to, you know what, this is the hand we're dealt. We're going to play it. Sure, it puts us under duress, but it's part of being in the Big Ten. And then I thought he did a really good job of spinning it into, hey, this has actually been a pretty big positive for us on the recruiting trail, playing under the lights at night in front of bigger TV audiences. What did you make of Matt Rule's reaction to Nebraska getting the 6:00 Central kickoff against Penn State this weekend?
Good for him. Nebraska can't be about whining. And I know the Nebraska media was going to ask about it, but really, it isn't really a story. It's just TV makes us do all these things. We've been doing them for years. I've covered, I've had deadlines and stuff that I had never imagined I would have had, or trips, or goofy stuff. The TV keeps getting goofier, but Nebraska's on TV because Nebraska's a big deal. It's brand name. Damn right, NBC wants them on there. And Nebraska Penn State's a big deal. So that's a good thing. And yeah, they're on national TV. It's what you want. Who cares if they have to fly, get back at 3 a.m. and play Friday? Big deal. I mean, if that's a problem, don't admit it. Because if that's a problem, your program is not very good. You're not. If you're worried about that, you're not feeling like you're good enough to win. I mean, is that going to be the excuse if they lose to Iowa next week? Well, we had that late night game. I don't know. No, you can't say that, and it wouldn't be true. They've got Sunday to recuperate, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to practice, Thursday to walk through, have Thanksgiving, Friday to play. And I got, look, Iowa fans out there, don't take this the wrong way. People used to say this about Nebraska, and of course Nebraska always took it the wrong way just for any kind of motivation. But Iowa is not hard to get ready for. You know what they're going to do. Now, the old coach might have a curveball for you here and there, but basically you know what Iowa is and what they're going to be, what they're going to run. You just can't beat them. It's one thing to know what's coming. It's another thing to actually beat them because they out-execute you. So they out-execute Nebraska on an annual basis. So no, I don't think this is it needs to be a topic of conversation. I don't think it's just kind of beneath the program. I think they need to be at a place where, yeah, we'll play anybody anywhere. So I thought that was a good answer. I don't know if he wanted to talk about it, but it wouldn't have been the right thing to do.
No, I'm in lockstep with you there. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the show. You're listening to the Husker Football Hour here on 93.7 The Ticket. On our Allo Fiber VIP line is Tom Shatel with the Omaha World Herald. I'm Austin Oerman. We will be right back.
Nebraska farmers, harvest is here and every gallon counts. That's why Sapp Brothers Petroleum launched the Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sapp Brothers, enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. As Husker Country knows, the only thing stronger than the roar at Memorial Stadium is the drive of a farmer putting food on the table. Fuel your farm with Sapp Brothers Petroleum and enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. Visit sappbros.net today. Sapp Brothers Petroleum, fueling the heartland. Go Big Red.
If the power is out, traffic lights might be too. If you come across a dark intersection, treat it like a four-way stop. See more tips at les.com/safety.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Schaefer's is celebrating its 79th anniversary with special rebates, financing, savings, and free delivery store-wide.
Update your home with innovative Samsung appliances and save up to an additional $900 with rebates. Samsung Innovation saves you energy and time with easy-to-connect appliance technology. Plus, during Schaefer's anniversary, get free delivery on your appliance purchase.
So hurry in during Schaefer's 79th anniversary event, going on now.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in season? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We are back here on Ticket Weeknights, led off, as always, by the Husker Football Hour, in which we're joined by Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. He's with us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo, the official home internet TV provider of the Huskers. Tom, Nebraska and Penn State this weekend. I didn't realize this until looking into this game a little bit more, that Nebraska is 4-1 against Penn State since Nebraska joined the Big Ten. The only loss was a barn burner in Mike Riley's final year, 56-44 in State College. And also that these two teams haven't played since the COVID year. Nebraska was a loss in Penn State's early skid before they turned it around toward the end of the year and then really resumed being the good program that they were after that for the better part of the last 4.5, 5 years. I like this series. I think it's kind of an underrated one historically, Tom. Of course, they play 5 times in the late 70s into the early 80s, and I hope Matt Rule is Nebraskan enough to make sure the sideline is painted on straight this time at the very least.
Well, I love this series. I don't like going to State College. It would be better if you could. I mean, you can fly into there now. You can fly from Chicago and also Detroit into State College. But I was looking. I showed you today the tickets for this game are $10 on the
not a typo
the websites. $10 and $9. Now I don't know where that gets you, but it gets you in the game. So I checked the hotels, and of course the hotels are either sold out. There are some are Friday night available for 200 some, which is incredible. But mostly they're $500 or $600 a night for Saturday night. The one that is for like a sort of a sleep in or Fairfield type of thing. So if they could just figure out a way to get the hotels down, that should be okay. You could, but having to fly to Pittsburgh or Harrisburg and drive 2.5 hours. It's one year we did it. It was the Ron Brown year, 2011. We stayed in Harrisburg and drove up, and we got behind a couple of horse and buggy deals. I mean, it was we were trying to figure that out. So it was. I love Pittsburgh. I always love going there, but I think this is a series that I wouldn't mind seeing every year. I just feel like I don't think it'll ever happen, but Nebraska used to recruit New Jersey, which is kind of in the neck of the woods of Pennsylvania, right around the corner, and right from next to Philadelphia. So I think this would be a good. I don't think it'll ever happen, but it's been such an unusual series in a lot of ways. I forgot that they played during that COVID year. I forgot everything that happened that COVID year, except that it was strange going to those games. And they ended up going to Rutgers in the last game when they qualified. It could have been in a bowl game, and they turned it down. But I remember they beat James Franklin and Penn State here. And I don't remember a lot of the other games. I remember it must have been 12. I played Bill O'Brien here, and Nebraska got a fumble call reverse that helped them win. And I remember seeing I can't remember the former Husker's name, who used to work for the athletic department, but he played on the 82 team. And I remember interviewing him after the game saying, well, does this make up for the – he goes, no, it'll never make up for that. So, but the 82 game was one of those few times that the programs were kind of on equal footing. Usually one's better than the other, or, neither one is really as good as they want to be. But I got to tell you, last spring, Todd Blackledge. I don't know if he's on the call this week or not. I don't know if he's doing NBC or not. But the last spring, Todd Blackledge was the guest speaker at the Johnny Rogers Jet Awards for the nation's top punt returner, and hold it in April in Omaha, Baxter Arena. It's a very nice event. Always get a big crowd. And Johnny has a long list of celebrities he brings in, much of the old guard. But Todd Blackledge speaks, and first thing he says is he talks. Well, he goes, I guess I got to admit, right out of the gate here. He goes, he was out of bounds. Oh my gosh! Everybody laughed and cheered, and so we got that on the record that he said that. It was just funny, but he wanted to say, yeah, now that I've seen the tape over and over and over, he looked like he was out of bounds. We're happy there wasn't replay, but he goes, I'm not giving my national championship ring back. So, but that was, I don't know how many times that the two schools had actually played before that in '82. I think they played in maybe 79 and 80.
So, yeah, I have it pulled up here in front of me. The series actually started in 1920. They played 4 straight years from 49 to 52, again in 58, and then 5 straight years, 79, 80, 81, 82, and 83 before about I can do math here, about a 19, 20-year gap until they played again home and home in 2002, 2003 when Solich was here.
Well, that 82 was the most famous because either team could have been the national champion. It was basically a national championship game. The winner was going to go on, and they were going to win the title. And that was my first Orange Bowl that year. I remember covering Nebraska against LSU, and Nebraska, only had one loss. They beat Oklahoma in Lincoln. The fans stormed the field. Scott Strasburger's interception at the end, and they go to the Orange Bowl and they play LSU and they beat them. But it was, they could have been, they watched Penn State win the national title that year, but that could have been them. So, but let's, Jim Delaney never said it, but as soon as Tom Osborne in Nebraska showed up at the first Big Ten Media Days, they paraded Osborne up on stage with Joe Paterno. So it was like they always had Joe and Tom together. And so they were kind of these two guys who were parallel legends, East Coast, Midwest. And so, of course, that was a year before the end for Joe.
Right.
But I'm saying Nebraska and Penn State have always had this kind of relationship where they were kind of seen as, like programs. And so it's always a fun series for people that have those kind of memories. And Tommy Armstrong led a comeback there. It started snowing. Sam McEwen had to drive us back in a van to Pittsburgh in snow. We almost wrecked.
But it wasn't Sam's fault, I'm sure. He was driving very well. It was the weather.
Well, it was. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, me and Dirk were in the back going, "Okay, this is not how we want it to end." But it was very treacherous out in middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. But of course, the Ron Brown game, right after Joe had been fired and all that stuff had come out. And so, in fact, it all came out that week, and Nebraska just happened to be going there. The timing of that was incredible, and I remember that Bo was saying he didn't think the game should be played, and I think a lot of people agreed with him. I'm not sure I didn't either. I thought it probably was a good call. They played the game. It's a weird atmosphere. First game without Joe, and Nebraska wins. And I remember before the game, both teams coming onto the field together and a prayer with Ron Brown in the middle. And if you stay for games at Nebraska this season, you'll see a similar situation after the games this year. Both teams, not all the whole team, but a good section of Nebraska players and a lot of the opponents will kneel at midfield, and there's a guy in the middle giving the prayer. It's Ron Brown. So it's an interesting thing. But, yeah, there's a lot of memories. 83, the Kickoff Classic, I covered that. And that was supposed to be, okay, last year's national champion versus the preseason number one, the preseason favorite. And they weren't even, Penn State had lost all their guys, and Nebraska just hammered them in the Meadowlands. So this idea of having a preseason bowl game to kick off the season for TV in August was a good idea, but just the wrong matchup because they invited last year's champion, but the guys that made him champion were gone. So anyway, yeah, there was it's a fun series. I wish they'd play it more often, as long as I don't have to go to State College.
Yeah, no, Nebraska actually hasn't been back to State College since that 2017 season. So if the road trips are few and far between, that's all right. It was 2 and 3 years when Nebraska first joined the conference. But, Tom, I do think the bigger point is this series has some juice to it. There's some history to it. And it's been, this will be 5 years removed since the last time these two teams played. I know the Big Ten wanted Nebraska, Wisconsin to take off into something, whether Nebraska fans like it or not. Nebraska, Minnesota probably should have elevated into something. But, man, when I look at Nebraska since it's joined the Big Ten, two of my favorite kind of sneaky underrated series, Nebraska, Michigan State, and Nebraska, Penn State. Certainly more history behind Nebraska and Penn State. But, man, the fact that it's been 5 years since these two teams have seen each other on the football field, there's so few, if any, carryovers from that first game. I mean, there's no history. There's no, these guys know each other. There's not the home and home element to it. And sure, maybe with Nebraska, where it was as a program, not the worst thing for them to keep a heavyweight like Penn State off the schedule. But big picture, man, there's some really sneaky fun series being left, as meat on the bone with a Big Ten that now is 18 teams big.
Yeah, I've always thought that that's why they invited Penn State and Nebraska into the league to have this kind of game. And, there's a lot of some folks out there, a lot of them in SEC, who aren't afraid to point out that the SEC has, interesting and compelling matchups every week, 2 or 3 of them, and the Big Ten has none. But they've had like 2 or 3 games that were really the kind of games you want to watch, and Ohio State doesn't play Oregon. They don't play USC. When they played UCLA, they don't play Indiana. And that it's true. Indiana doesn't play Michigan or Ohio State. It's maybe they're not. Maybe they're just waiting to see if Indiana's going to do it again. But really, USC's not up there. Oregon is up there. Nebraska's not. Penn State was supposed to be, but they didn't have them playing. They had them going with Oregon, and you're going to UCLA. But yeah, I think there's something to be said for having these two play more often. I think it. I've said this before. Nebraska coming into the Big Ten had more history with Penn State, UCLA, and Washington than they ever did with Iowa and Wisconsin. Yeah. These people wanting Nebraska, Wisconsin to be a rivalry. Nebraska fans know the other guys more than they do them, and it just takes a while. So, Nebraska's history was when they played UCLA and Washington and Penn State. Those were big time games. They meant a lot. It's just, we just live in a different world now. But so yeah, I'd be all for that. It's just hard with an 18 team. You just can't worry about scheduling as much. You can't make everybody happy. You can't figure out who's going to be good every year and who's not. It's just because teams are probably going to rotate and take turns. And I don't know. It's an awkward thing to have an 18-team conference. So I'm not going to expect to have one of these games, but I'm going to enjoy Penn State, Nebraska.
Absolutely. But I do think, Tom, the benefit, if you want to call it that, is there are years that every school will have the opportunity without, more than one of the heavyweights on their schedule to build to that year, take advantage, and make their own playoff run. Now, I think they're supersized. I think they're way too big. But, you look at Indiana last year, really only had, the Michigan game against a team that wasn't the same, and then they lost to Ohio State. But Indiana was really good right away. They took advantage of their schedule. There's an argument to be made that could have been Nebraska this year as well, where, Ohio State comes off the schedule. That's pretty big. You would have told folks that Penn State was 4-6 when Nebraska headed out to State College. they would have taken that in a heartbeat and like Nebraska's chances. Nebraska's clearly better this year than it was, last year in some areas. But I think it's also fair to say that in the era of these mega conferences, when you have an opportunity like this schedule, you got to take full advantage. Nebraska's been good, but I don't think it'd be, fair to say Nebraska's taken full advantage of the schedule it's faced.
No, they just haven't been ready, and they're just offensive line. And I know I harp on that, but it hasn't. It takes a long time to build. It takes 3 or 4 years to build a really good offensive line. Again, Indiana will, but they're just such an outlier. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. But yeah, frankly, excuses or not, Nebraska's offensive line has not, and defensive line is young, and you can't think about winning a lot of games in this league without having those things set. So, but yet here they are at 7-3. I thought the defensive line played well at UCLA. Those guys seem to be coming on a little bit. The offensive line with a game plan of running forward, moving, going forward and not backward is a lot better. And I thought that they played inspired on some plays. So yeah, I think the schedule is weird. We thought this was going to be a tough game. Mm-hmm. We didn't think UCLA was going to, and all of a sudden UCLA got hot, and then they cooled off. It just goes week to week. I mean, what is Iowa's going to be Iowa, and the Penn State they're selling tickets for $10. I mean, I don't know what's going to be waiting for Nebraska Saturday night. I don't think it'll be a whiteout. I don't think it'll be. It might be a little emotional, but how much emotion the fans have for this team? I mean, it has kind of definitely underachieved, and but has been through a lot. They're going to be a great outpouring of fan support, and place be energized, or will it just be a little flat? I mean, it'll be interesting. We're glad it's over, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, the schedule's in Cincinnati. People didn't pay attention to that game at all. That might be one of the better teams on the schedule. I thought that USC game was just weird because the injury. I thought that they were. The way they were playing with Dylan that night, I thought they were going to score more. They were going to have a good chance to win. And that didn't happen. But Minnesota, of course, that's just that's going to be the game. Wherever they end up with, if they end up with 7, they could have had 8. If they end up with 8, they could have had 9. If they end up with 9, they could have had 10. It's like, I mean, the Minnesota game will be the one that's kind of look back on, but I just I'm rambling all over the place here, but I just wanted to see more progress. I think we have seen more progress, but it's very fair to judge that on the scoreboard right now. And UCLA game was a big one. I thought that there's a chance. I think I could lose the last 3. Now I might, TJ Lateef, man, we'll see what he's got. That offense plays like they did again. They're going to have a chance to win out.
They sure will. Let's talk about this Nebraska-Penn State game a little bit more. One final segment left here on the Husker Football Hour, 93.7 The Ticket.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th when every red tagged machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Husker fans know when you work together, great things happen. At Cornhusker Bank, they're more than your financial partner. With 5 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Omaha, they're your neighbors, your teammates, and your biggest fans. Whether you're saving for your first home, planning your future, or growing your business, they're right here in Nebraska to help you move forward together. Visit cornhusker.bank to learn more. Cornhusker Bank, member FDIC. Doing life together.
Deciding on a college with your high school senior can be a little overwhelming for parents. But applying for money to pay for it is simple. FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, is now easier than ever with fewer questions and faster fill-out times. If you have a high school senior, now is the time to apply for thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing. Get started, Nebraska, at dothefafsa.org. Sponsored by Education Quest Foundation. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time here on the Husker Football Hour. Ross Norman with you at 1040 O Street. Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald with you on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Well, Tom, Nebraska off a bye week. What are your expectations for Nebraska as they make the trip up for the evening kickoff at State College? What are you expecting to see from the Huskers following the bye week?
A whole lot of Emmett Johnson, I hope. I mean, I think he should be rested and ready to go. And I love the fact that they started the Heisman campaign and all the, Big Ten campaign, and I just think that shows the program's in the right headspace. They've got, they want to put it out there, and they're not afraid to get behind the players. I mean, Nebraska used to do that all the time back when they had guys who could win those kind of things. But certainly over the years, they've had coaches who really weren't into that stuff, and I'm glad Matt Rule is. So we'll hear from Dana Holgorsen tomorrow, and maybe Emmett Johnson. I just, does TJ Lateef's running ability, it seems to me it kind of forces Holgorsen's hand. He has to run it more. So it could be, I guess, a good thing for the offense. I think his offense operates better that way. As do most offenses when you're running the ball more, and you're letting Emmett Johnson, you're putting everybody on his back, and he's strong enough to carry it. So I expect more of that, to be honest. And we'll see if we get it. But they've had a week to adjust to what TJ's doing, what he can do, what he can't. I didn't see a lot of can't out there. I saw a lot of can. So. I think, he's just that kind of guy is hard to prepare for. Just ask John Butler. I mean, it's Penn State's only got one game film, and there were some moves out there he made that you don't know if he'll make again, or maybe he'll make other moves, or maybe there's going to be other run designs. Haven't shown a lot of screen passes. Haven't shown a lot of wheels. Those both went for touchdowns against UCLA. So I like where Nebraska is going into this game, being able to have a couple of surprises. But they're going to come down to blocking and tackling. And, I don't think there'll be a Matt Rule factor. I don't think Penn State people are really, I'm sure they like him and they know he's one of them. But I don't feel like this is going to be a big homecoming story. I don't feel like there'll be a lot of that. So Nebraska can kind of come in and they play like they did, the same energy and a spark. At UCLA, I think I can get this one.
I agree, Tom. It's there for Nebraska. I will say I do think it's going to be potentially a game that comes down to those tight little margins. Again, Matt Rule says he goes into every game expecting that it's going to be a 17-16 type of game. I'm guessing at the very least this is going to be a fast game. Penn State ran the ball 50 times against Michigan State. Nebraska clearly seems to trust Emmett Johnson. It does seem to be as simple as which line plays better, which sounds very reductionist, but can also be true at the same time.
Well, one thing, and I didn't get to see it because of the stupid Michigan State Arkansas basketball game, but I didn't get to see the opening drive. But that had to be the biggest thing ever for TJ Lateef, that offense, to go down and score on the first drive, opening drive. And that probably changed how they played the rest of the game, rather than being 3 and out or something. So I think the first, how Nebraska comes out, and if they can score early and get a lead, I mean, the air might go out of that stadium in a hurry. Mm-hmm. They've had a tough year, and it probably won't be very warm. And it just the whole vibe there doesn't seem like it's. They coming off a win at Michigan State. They need to win out to go to a bowl. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like it's. I don't think there'll be a lot of energy. It might help Nebraska to get on top early.
But hey, when tickets are $9, maybe fans are excited just to be in the door. We'll see. Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. As always, thank you so much for your hour, Tom. Great to catch up. We'll see you at the presser tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Austin.
Tom joined us on our Aloe Fiber VIP line. Aloe Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Yep, Matt Rule spoke today. We'll hear from Dana Holgorsen and John Butler after their bye week. What do they have in store for Penn State? What do they think Penn State has in store for Nebraska? As always, big thanks to Tom Shatel. Check out his work on omaha.com. Give him a follow on Twitter, Tom Shatel, OWH. That's it for me. All in, Caleb Smith, Ridge Lovett, Nebraska Wrestling, back from the national duel. How did it go? We'll hear from them and plenty more in the Husker Wrestling Sphere. That's next right here, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th when every red tag machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years with